I'm joined today by Derek Carty, the creator of the BatX projection system. The 2024 MLB season is here. And one thing I enjoy in the early season with the bat projections, betting, player props, pick 'em, is trying to identify or getting help identifying any like early season edges of things that has the game changed? Has certain teams changed? Has certain ballparks changed? Different rules? We saw, I remember what, 2 or 3 years ago, I believe. Like, describe these types of edges. I mean, I don't think we have anything for this year, but I know people made a killing on stolen base props like 2 years ago when
Oh yeah.
the pitch number, like all the rules changed, made it so that not only Noah Syndergaard gives up stolen bases, but like everyone does. What are those types of things that maybe could possibly exist for the 2024 season?
Yeah, so you never really know. You take what the market gives you, but I do think there's a decent chance we see another spike in stolen bases. So that's something I'm going to be looking out for. That's something I'm hedging a little bit, but also projecting a little bit. Last year, stolen bases were successful at like an 80% rate, whereas break even on stolen bases is more like 70%. So theoretically, from like a game theory perspective, if teams were smart, they'd realize, okay, we can get more run production by attempting more stolen bases, getting caught a little bit more, but overall it's a net positive. So like we might see more stolen base attempts, more total stolen bases, just because teams aren't close enough to that equilibrium right now, and they might just start running more, even more after the we had the rule change last year, and that's when we got the spike up to 80%. But if teams adjust further, we might see even more steals this year than we saw last year, which I think would be fun. The baseball itself, we have no idea what it's going to be going into every year. But after just a few days, we can generally have a pretty good sense of how the baseball is going to play, and that matters. Early in the season, we can get edges. The first time a pitcher starts for the year, or even a second time, sometimes we don't always know how deep he's going to go into the game. How stretched out did he get during spring training? Did he get a late start? Did he, tweak his ankle in the middle of March and, is now still working back up? Like, so if you're able to identify which guys are stretched out and which guys aren't, that can provide edge early in the season. There's all kinds of things.
From a pitching staff perspective, like and coaching, do you expect any teams to significantly change how they approach the starting rotation? Whether because we have openers, we have starters and that go 3 innings, and then another guy comes in, and sometimes they go 6. I mean, I think the biggest variable. I mean, obviously, I'd love to find stolen base props across the board are entirely off. Like that's like once in a blue moon type of anomaly. But I'm just talking about on a specific basis. We have ballparks that change, right? We had an instance a couple of years ago in Florida that people didn't realize that Miami wasn't going to be as much of a pitcher's park. It's going to be much more neutral. We had the opposite effect in Baltimore. And a lot of times that first month that you're betting, the market isn't accounting for it enough. And maybe a little, but not enough. So do you see any managerial changes and pitching staff changes around the league that we could possibly take advantage of on specific starters, on specific staffs? I mean, because we saw in the past, like I remember a couple of years ago with the Rays. The Rays were the first one to kind of like, yeah, we're just going to throw a guy out for an inning or two type of thing. And if you took advantage of that, I mean, like, dude, like for like maybe 3 weeks, 4 weeks, like, dude, the props were like these pitchers were pitching 5 innings until people just realized, oh, they're just going to throw at a guy for like 40 pitches. Right. So is there anything like that or anything that should be worth monitoring the early part of this season that relates to something like that?
I mean, just as a general trend, it's worth monitoring because that is the direction a lot of teams are moving, where pitchers are falling into more specialized roles. Teams are realizing, okay, I can maximize this guy's production by only letting him throw 75 pitches. Once he gets beyond that, he gets tired, the batters get too familiar with him, whatever it is. And so he's a 75 pitch guy, and this guy can go 95. But this guy who used to go 95, he's on a new team now, and they think he can only go 80. Like whatever it may be. Teams using openers, team using piggyback situations. We don't know exactly who's going to be doing what this year, but I would imagine there's going to be a team or two that kind of come out of nowhere to use their guys in a funky way that we weren't expecting.
Is there anything of that nature possible for like hitting? Because another direction that we've seen over the past 10 years. I mean, I'm old enough, Derek, to remember the leadoff guy is the guy that gets on base and steals bases. Then you have a contact hitter up second, right? And the high average power hitter on third, like we have the notion, like the old school people are like, whoever bats fourth, that's the big slugger, right? Right. Whoever bats third is kind of like the OPS slugging percentage guy. The guy that bats fifth is like the power guy that strikes out a lot, right? Like it's like you could like build a batting order that way because it's based on the notion that like the first guy gets on base, the second guy hits him over, like the small ball type of thing.
Yeah.
And now we see it's like, overall, probably we should give our best hitters that could hit the ball over the fence as many at bats as possible, just as many plate appearances as possible. And it does this whole small ball notion, like that outside of maybe the first inning, it doesn't even matter. Is there any changes more like that? Because there are some teams that do that to the extreme. And then you got some teams, I remember the Cubs. Right.
Kyle Schwarber's their leadoff hitter.
Right. But sometimes you got like the Cubs. I remember the Cubs were like, we're going to put the pitcher batting seventh in the order. Like, obviously, that's not a thing anymore. But like, are there any like either team wide or league wide things? We talked about the pitching stuff to monitor, but how about on the hitter end?
I'd say the biggest thing to monitor on the hitter end, yeah, you are going to see more of that, going away from that traditional way to build a lineup, which is good because small ball is an inefficient way to score runs. And generally, you want to give your best hitters the most at bats. So we are going to see some of that, I'm sure. Philly's the team that sticks out to me the most because Schwarber is like your prototypical power, middle of the order guy, and he leads off because he also draws a ton of walks. And that's just what Philly does. I think one of the things that we've seen more in recent years is a willingness for teams to platoon players. This guy is only going to play against righties. This guy's only going to play against lefties. And when the bullpen comes in, maybe he's going to come out of the game for the other guy. So pinch hit rates are one way to find an edge. And that's something that I'll be monitoring closely early in the year to kind of see who's being used in those type of situations.
Let me just tell you, a lot of my highest edge bets last year were on
Mine too.
right. Yeah, Joey Gallo, right? Joey Gallo's prop is acting as if he's not going to get pinch hit in the fifth inning, right? Because some teams legitimately are pinch hitting people in the third inning. Or just like these two players are in a platoon, and there may be some like 3-inning opener or something like that, and
we saw, I think, the Twins last year.
One plate.
Yeah. A couple times last year, the Twins is what sticks out to me. They gave a guy just one at bat, and he was done, and I was like, oh, that's so good.
Because the thing is that the bat projects that type of stuff. So like, I would see Twins last year, all these hits under, right? Total bases under. And I'm like, well, the Twins are facing a guard, and it's like the Twins are facing a bullpen game, like from the other team. And I'm going, well, the Twins have an implied run total of like 5.1. Like, why do like half their batters like project so poorly until you look at the box score and go, oh, they're pinch hitting guys it's really early. So I'm just taking a look, and I started to do it until I realized that the bat already takes care of it. Is I would look at the bullpen and see who pitched the day before. So it's like, yeah, Joey Gallo is like there's two healthy, rested lefties in the bullpen. Like, dude, give me total bases under, total bases under. It's I mean, I'm just going under because the numbers don't even didn't. I mean, Carty, they didn't even reflect it. I mean, the numbers like literally were as if he was going to
Yeah.
get 3.5 plate appearances.
Yeah. And I felt like throughout the year, it was kind of, I don't know, like the markets would adjust eventually. Like after we saw it happen to a guy like, every day for a week or something, like then the market would finally kind of adjust, but then there'd be a new guy that would pop up that the market didn't know was going to be doing that. So it was a really nice way to find edge.
Okay, so these early season edges you could take advantage of, hopefully, by using the Bat X projections. And Derek, can you tell us where to get those? Because I just click on that renew like every year. I upload them into the unabated stuff. I take care of everything myself, but you could do this through multiple outlets.
Yep, you can get them at Roto Grinders, which is mostly geared towards DFS, but you do get full projections for every stat category. You can get them at EV Analytics, which makes it really easy for you to compare the projection to the implied projection to the line. It has a nice, easy, ranking system of value to sort through quickly and identify where where the best value might be according to the projection, as opposed to having to manually go back and forth and figure it out.
And if people have any questions, they could tweet you at Derek Carty, and then you're also in the Roto Grinders Discord as well as the unabated Discord,
Yep.
which I think you could join both without like paying anything, at least for like the basic channels. So if you got any questions, you can get Derek there, or you can always post them in the comments and hit that like button. And we'll talk more with Derek in some future videos.